A cursed homestead where demons hold captive the souls of the innocent. It's up to our hero, Michael, to set those trapped souls free and drop-kick the demons back to hell. This is Hallowseed. Welcome to my study. The Doctor is in for some fun and games today with this little gem from developer Jeff Winter and Fulqrum Publishing. As always, please be sure to like, subscribe, pull the rope on that notification church bell. Also, please be aware that there are some spoilers for the game Hallowseed, including the ending, in this video. Of course, the name Hallowseed sounds an awful lot like the word Halloween, and indeed the title of this game includes a cute little jack-o'-lantern to cement that association. We can't help but think of Halloween when playing this game called Hallowseed. But the word hallow actually means holy. If you're familiar with the Lord's Prayer, also commonly known as the Our Father, you'll know the line, "Hallowed be thy name." This archaic English means, "May your name be holy." It's a petition that God's name be used in only a holy way at all times, and that those who call God their Father conduct their lives in a way that brings honor to his name. Now, I don't know if the developers intended this, and I'm not making a case that they do, but the word Hallowseed means holy seed. This is actually super appropriate because in the player character Michael, we have the beginnings or the seed of a holy person or a saint. It's basically an origin story for a future professional demon buster. Michael is one of 3 friends whom we meet right at the beginning of the game. We can't see them, but we hear their laughter, and we are told via the words on the screen that this is happening at the campfire. One of the group, Jay, starts telling a spooky story about the abandoned area of their campsite. Years prior, the town's kids had summoned a bunch of demons and killed their parents. But Jay can't finish the story before he starts choking. Everything goes black, and Michael wakes up in a different location, left to search for his friends in this demon-infested place. It soon becomes apparent that the faith, symbols, and scriptures of Christianity are the weapons of choice to defeat the demons in this game. In the survival horror portions of the game, the only safe hiding spots are cubby-type spaces that have a cross on the door. Cubbies with no cross will allow the demon to bust in and kill you. Even the protagonist's name, Michael, is the same as the name of the great archangel who, according to the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verses 7 and 8, defeated the forces of Satan when they rebelled against God and threw them out of heaven. Hallowseed's protagonist, too, will defeat the forces of hell, and the game explicitly makes this connection at one point. In Catholic tradition, Saint Michael is also said to be the archangel who guides the souls of the deceased to heaven. Similarly, Hallowseed's Michael is supposed to lead trapped souls to freedom. One of Michael's early tasks is to find a Bible that we are told should protect him while he's in the demon-infested house, but it really doesn't. And he is also tasked with finding 7 missing Bible pages. 7 is a significant number in the Bible and in Christianity, meaning perfection or completion. It is the marriage of the number 3 symbolizing the divine and the number 4 symbolizing the material world. So 7 is the number indicating the union of heaven and earth, a harmonious relationship between God and humanity. The Bible passages on these missing pages, as Michael finds them, all relate to Jesus' power as an exorcist. Yes, friends, you heard that right. The Gospels say that Jesus was an exorcist. In fact, this is the basis for the authority of priests as exorcists in the Catholic Church. The priest represents the greatest exorcist, Jesus Christ himself, and the priest acts in persona Christi, in the person of Christ. In the Catholic Church, the priest bears Christ's authority over demons because Christ himself passed down that authority to his apostles so that they could act in the world in his name after he ascended into heaven. The finding of these Bible pages in Hallowseed alternates with notes left behind by the demon-worshipping kids, expressing their love and loyalty towards their demonic masters. This creates a great sense of tension between good and evil. A pledge of loyalty to a demon is followed by a Bible passage giving hope for that demon's defeat in a back and forth reminiscent of the tide of a battle. One of these notes mentions two titles of Christ, Son of David and Son of the God of Abraham. David is King David, the second king of Israel who ruled in the 11th or 10th century BC, and to this day is revered as Israel's greatest king and a kind of prototype of the Messiah. In the book of 2 Samuel 7, God promises King David that he will establish David's descendants as a royal dynasty that will always hold the throne of Israel. Problem was, the Israelite monarchy came to an end in the 6th century BC when the Empire of Babylon destroyed the kingdom of Judah, ending the Davidic dynasty. By Jesus' lifetime in the 1st century AD, there had been no Davidic king for more than 400 years. The first Christians saw Jesus, a descendant of David according to the Gospels of Matthew and Luke, as the long-awaited king who would liberate God's people, although as it turned out, not in the political way that so many were expecting, but in a spiritual one. So the Gospels call Jesus the Son of David frequently to indicate that Jesus is that Davidic king of Israel. Abraham is the founder of the family line that would become the Israelites, a people in a special covenant relationship with God. So the God of Israel is often referred to in the Bible as the God of Abraham. So calling Jesus the son of the God of Abraham in Hallowseed identifies the God whose son Jesus is, and it establishes Jesus as an Israelite or a Jew himself. Gamers familiar with the Bible will recognize the names of two of the demons that Michael runs up against in Hallowseed: Legion and Baalzebub. Baalzebub appears in the Old Testament in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 1, verse 2, when Ahaziah, the king of the kingdom of Israel, fell through the lattice in his upper chamber in Samaria and lay sick. So he sent messengers telling them, "Go inquire of Baalzebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall recover from this sickness." The king of Israel is committing idolatry here in direct defiance of one of the 10 Commandments by consulting a god that is not the God of Israel. Later, the Old Testament prophets warn against the temptation of worshiping the Baals. All of these references are to a being that was worshipped all the way back to the ancient Canaanites, who were among the original inhabitants of the land of Canaan, where the ancient Israelites settled, and we read about this in the Old Testament books of Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Judges, and Joshua. The same entity appears in the New Testament and is referred to as the Prince of Demons in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 24, as well as the Gospel of Mark, chapter 3, verse 22, and Luke, chapter 11, verse 15. In these passages, Jesus is accused of being in league with a being called Baalzebul because demons obey Jesus much as an employee obeys a boss. The name comes from the root of that ancient god, Baal, meaning lord or master, and means either lord of the flies or lord of dung, depending on whether it's spelled as Beelzebub or Beelzebul. Lord of Dung is clearly an early Israelite dismissal of this deity's power compared to the power of the God of Israel. But in essence, this entity is Baal, one of the chief gods of the ancient Canaanite pantheon, associated with storm and masculine virility. There's a good article about this ancient deity on the Biblical Archaeology Society website. I'll put the link to that article in the description for this video. One of the final images we get of Beelzebub in Hallowseed, close to the very end of the game, is a bit reminiscent of a more familiar image to us in the modern United States, which is the illustration of a figure called Baphomet. The other demon with whom Michael has to reckon in Hallowseed is called Legion. We find this entity mentioned in the Bible only in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 5, verse 9, and the Gospel of Luke, chapter 8, verse 30. Jesus is in an area of Galilee here called Gadara when he comes across a diabolically possessed man who basically lives in a graveyard. When Jesus commands the demon to reveal its name, it replies, "My name is Legion, for we are many." Jesus successfully expels Legion into a nearby herd of pigs, who then throw themselves off of a nearby cliff. Legion is a rather popular name for horror movie and horror game demons, with a movie titled Legion back in 2010, and this same demon making an appearance in several other films, including one of my personal favorites, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. So Michael is up against some pretty heavy hitters here in Hallowseed. Names are important in demonology and exorcism. Catholic exorcists really do command demons to reveal their names during exorcisms, and Hallowseed makes a massive deal of this, with 2 scenes featuring Michael stridently commanding a demon to tell him its name. In each case, this acts as a kind of silver bullet. When the demon says its name, it is defeated. Unfortunately, this is not accurate at all. If only it were that easy. Getting a demon to reveal its name is not what makes a successful exorcism. It's often erroneously believed that knowing a demon's name gives the exorcist power over the demon, so that the exorcist can, in a sense, force the demon back to hell by using its name. We do find this principle in some magical texts and practices in the ancient Near East and during the Roman Empire era, but it's not part of Catholic belief. It's about getting the demon to reveal itself so that the exorcist knows what, or more importantly, whom he is dealing with, being able to better address and command the demon, which is not exactly the same thing as having power over it. In other words, commanding the demon by name, telling it what to do, is not the same as forcing the demon to do something because you know its name. It's the prayer of exorcism imploring the intervention of Christ that expels the demons in an exorcism. Christ is the one acting here, not the mere fact that a demon speaks its name. And speaking of which, what would an exorcism be without those famous words, "Power of Christ compels you"? At the end of the game, if we get the good ending, we hear Michael on the phone with a priest talking about returning to Kansas to handle a demonic possession case. So Michael has gone on to assist on exorcisms, or might even be a priest himself at this point. So, what's the doctor's diagnosis? Hallowseed is a fun game that shows a solid knowledge of scripture on the part of the developer, which I can really appreciate. The references to Saint Michael the Archangel and to the demons Beelzebub and Legion, the focus on Christ as an exorcist, are all very nice, authentic touches. But having a demon revealing its name being the single thing that defeats it is not accurate. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you decide to play Hallowseed, I hope you have a good time playing that too. As always, please be sure to like this video, do subscribe, pull the rope on that notification church bell, and if you like the video, please do share it with your friends. Drop a comment too. I would love to know what you think about the game Hallowseed, if you thought it was worth playing, and if you saw the religious references as I did, and if you saw some references that you think I missed. Until next time, the doctor is out.